Hey guys, this is Naeem. Welcome to some of the foundations that we are going to be talking about today. This is critical to build your business, and you need to master these steps. You need to make sure that you are taking notes on your pencil and paper or on your computer. You're going to build your company, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about three things: choosing your company name and why that is so critical that you choose the right name. We're going to talk about how to register your company and then some of the terminology from Amazon that you need to get yourself familiar with, okay? These are critical basic steps that you need to master. They're not very difficult, but you really do need to spend some time on this, okay? So let's get going. And what I'm going to do, I'm sharing this PowerPoint with you. I'm actually going to take notes because I don't want you to have to go to the video back and forth to look at it. I'm going to take some notes and actually share these with you because I think this is really, really important. And if I can help you out and save you a little time, then I am happy to do that. So let's go ahead and start with choosing a company name. And let me start with taking some notes, like I said. So this is choosing a company name, and this is super, super critical. So there's some confusion that I have been reading. Certainly when I started, I wasn't aware of all this as far as what's the difference between a company name, a brand name, a seller name, and how are all these things connected? And very, very important that you understand the difference between these things and limitations, etc. So before I talk about best practices, let's actually look at some examples, okay? Let's look at one example. So, and I suggest you do this as well on your own time. Just browse Amazon and start getting familiar with it. You really need to understand the platform that you're going to be selling on. So I am going to pick out a product, and we're going to see, we're going to see the company name and brand name and how they all work together, okay? So let's go to Home Gardens, Kitchen and Dining, and I'm going to just pick a product. It doesn't matter what product. Let's see here. Okay, Chef and Stem Gem Strawberry Huller. I didn't even know these things exist, but apparently you need a device to clean out your strawberries because, there you go, because you're too lazy to do it with a knife. Okay, all right. So here we go. Let's take a look at this page. Okay, now, so the name of this product is Chef and Stem Gem Strawberry Huller. Okay, that's the title, that's the name. Every product has that. By Chef'n. Now, this right here, this is the brand, okay? And you'll see this is common practice to have the brand in the title or name of the product. That's very common, and it's a way to establish the brand and get the brand name out there. But when it says by so-and-so, this is your brand name. This is a variable, meaning that you can change this brand name on every product that you sell. This is not your company name. This is not your seller name, okay? So this right here is a brand name. That's obviously your product title. Let's scroll down. Estimated delivery date, blah, blah, blah. Ships and sold by. Okay, here we go. So this is sold by Zoller Hardware. This is the company, okay? Now, let's scroll down. This is the company name. Let's scroll down. Look at here. So on this particular product, we've got 20 different sellers, 20 new sellers. It's actually usually less than that because you can have it in there as FBA. You can also have it in there fulfilled by merchant, and sometimes that repeats itself. So let's take a look at this. These are all of the people that are selling this particular product under this title, under this brand, okay? So maybe this is a wholesale supplier and different sellers are buying it from this company, Chef'n or whatever, and they are then all selling on Amazon. So let's take a look here. The first one, Zolar Hardware, okay, that's who we saw on the main page. Zolar Hardware has the cheapest price, and that's why they're winning the buy box, and this is called the buy box. So their name pops up. However, like I just showed you, you can actually come in here and buy it from any of these sellers. The next seller is Amazon, who is selling it directly. And a lot of times you'll see this. So this seller and the rest of these sellers are competing with Amazon. And there's nothing wrong with that, but obviously when you compete with Amazon, it's a little tougher, okay? But the seller information is Zolar Hardware. This is the seller name. Let's move on to the next one. And notice over here, arrives between this date, ships from North Carolina, domestic shipping rates, etc., etc. So this means this is merchant fulfilled. This means that when you place this order, Zolar Hardware receives that order and they will ship it out of their warehouse or office or whatever to you, okay? Look at this one here. This is FBA. The name of this seller is RBT Inc. Incorporated. Okay, so that's the name of the company. Now, FBA means that RBT Inc. Took whatever 500 of these, 1,000 of these, whatever quantity they had, and they sent it into Amazon. Amazon is now going to do the fulfillment. That's called FBA. And this symbol over here usually gives you a leg up. People prefer FBA because they know Amazon is going to handle everything. Amazon's going to ship it. Amazon's going to take care of the customer service. Amazon will take care of the refunds, etc., etc. People prefer this than this, unless there's a big difference in the price, or even a small difference in price. These guys are coming up at the top because they're just cheaper, okay? But if you're going to make a choice between this guy and this guy, okay, and let's assume these two are the same price, this will typically, not always, but typically, this will have an advantage because it is FBA. And Amazon may not officially tell you that they prefer and give more advantage to FBA sellers versus the merchant fulfilled, but many sellers will tell you based on experience that the FBA gets a preference. Okay, so coming back to the names, so this seller is called Zolar Hardware. This is obviously Amazon. RBT Inc. Treasures to You, $10 wholesale. K&M, Dunbar seller, Jared for less. Now, here is some best practices around names, okay? So I've explained to you, let's just summarize this portion. I've explained to you the difference between the company name, the product name, and the brand name, okay? These are three different things. These you can change anytime you want from Seller Central. This is permanent. This is your company name. You could change it, but you don't want to change it, okay? Now let's talk about some good practices here. Which of these names stands out to you? Zolar Hardware, okay. I can't tell what they do from that name. It's kind of generic, okay. Interesting. If you look at their logo, very small over here, it says, let me blow this up. It says Cashiers, North Carolina. I don't know if that's a city or if that's supposed to be some line of business they have. RBT Inc. Okay, that's pretty generic. Treasures to You. That looks like somebody started that out of their basement. The logo is pretty bad. Okay, $10 wholesale. So is this guy selling only things that are up to $10? I don't know. It's not very appealing to me as a company name. K&M, okay, pretty generic. Dunbar seller, okay, pretty generic. Jared for less. This is obviously one guy or some small mom and pop operation, and the guy's name is probably Jared for less, or his first name is Jared. Kelly's Basket Inc. So this is probably the owner's name, or maybe the owner's son or daughter or whatever. These are two small businesses. I can see that immediately. Birchline, that's pretty generic. Nice logo. Okay, the point that I'm trying to make here is that when you look at a company name, it represents who you are as a seller. Are you a professional? Are you a mid-sized company? Are you some small mom and pop operation, running your business from the bedroom, Jared or Kelly's Baskets? And so that's very, very important. So let's go over some of these best practices. Choose a name that is generic. And let's kind of look at the long-term strategy here. I start selling today, and let's say I start selling toothbrushes. I'm going to name my company Naeem's Toothbrushes. Next month, I decide to sell coffee cups. It would be difficult. No, it wouldn't be difficult, but you would raise an eyebrow buying coffee cups from a store or from an online business that was called Naeem's Toothbrushes. It would just be weird. As you build your business into a 50,000, 100,000, 250,000, $1 million business, the long-term strategy here is potentially to sell your business. That's your exit strategy, or you may want to keep it and grow it into a 10-person, 10-employee operation. Well, can you imagine having a company that you're hiring people called Naeem's Toothbrushes? Obviously, it doesn't make sense. And just like the examples that we saw, you wouldn't want a big company called Kelly's Baskets or Jared for Less. Okay, bad practice. But if I chose a name that was something like Sky Enterprises, okay, or Sky Commerce, just as an example, that's kind of cool. It's generic. What does it mean? Nothing. What does Amazon.com mean? Nothing. It's just a big river, right? So it's scalable. It's generic. The other thing I'm going to add to that is, so choosing a generic name is very important so that you're thinking about scalability. Okay. The other thing I'm going to add to that is shorter the better. Don't call your company, after your 3 kids' names put together, right? John and Jack and Jill Enterprises. A bad idea. It's not memorable. You're not going to remember it. So shorter the better. Sky Commerce, short to the point, easy to remember. And so memorable. That's your third point, okay? So keep those things in mind. Next. Very important, you may come up with a name that you absolutely love, but is it available? Very important. And when I talk about availability, 2 kinds of availability. One is the domain and URL. Okay, you want to lock that in. And then also trademark. So how do you check that? All right, well, there's a couple of different ways that you can do that. One is you can just go to an engine like, let's see here. Let's go to Network Solutions. Okay, and again, it doesn't matter. Any of the big hosting companies, GoDaddy, Network Solutions, etc. And you can search for a name. Here we go, right here, okay? So let's say I'm looking for Sky Commerce. I just punched that in here, .com. .com is always preferable, but if you want to do .net or whatever, that's fine too. But I always try to get .com. Okay, let's search for skycommerce.com. Nope. So this is not available, right? So I'm not going to choose Sky Commerce. Okay. Let's assume it was available. Here, skycommerce.uk is available. There you go. So you could do that. But you want to spend some time here, and there are actually domain name generators that will help you. So let's give you an example. Domain name generator right here. And these are just tools that I like this one, Lean Domain Search. I use this one quite a bit. These are different tools that basically suggest available names, and they'll tell you what's available or not. So let me just punch in Sky, for example. Okay, this is going to give me a bunch of options. All right. So what this means here is all of these names are available. All right. So I could go through this and pick out something, that makes sense. Economysky.com. Yeah, it's not bad. Let's see here. So you can spend some time on this and pick out something that appeals to you, short, to the point, and well, maybe Sky is not such a great name. So something related to commerce or trade. Okay, so try trade because that's what you're doing. Spicy trade. That's kind of cool. That kind of stands out. Venue trade. That's not bad either. Short, to the point. Pivot trade. That's not bad either. So you get the idea, okay? So you want to make sure that your domain is available. And then you can go and register this domain on any of the host providers like I just shared with you. So check your domain name. The next thing is to check with your trademark. So for that, you want to go to the U.S. Patent Office. So uspto.gov and run your name over here. Let me see here. There's a trademark. Here we go. Trademarks. Okay, and search trademark database. There we go. All right, and basically you can come in here and run a search, basic word search, new user. Let's try this, okay? So let's do that Sky again, Sky commerce. Well, we said that wasn't available, right? So if we picked one of the other ones, spicy trade or whatever that was, right? Anyways, you can search this, hit submit query. Okay, there we go. So Sky Commerce is already registered, okay? Live, dead, it's live. Okay, so this is an active business that somebody's already using. Now, even if the domain name was available, okay, but the company existed, I wouldn't choose that because you might just get into a potential conflict with this company, right? So two things, you want your name to be clear as a domain and available, and you want the patent office and trademark to be clear as well. So run those two. Let's make a note of that. Okay, domain name should be available and trademark should be available. Okay, good. So that's an important point. And for the trademark, you want to check www.uspto.gov/trademark. Okay, I believe that was the path. Man, I can't spell today. Trademark. Okay, so there you go. So now, in that site that I talked about, the domain name generator is that was lean domain search.com. Okay, that's the one that I like that you can punch in there and it'll give you a bunch of suggestions. All right. So that's what you need to know about choosing a name. The one other thing, or a couple of other things that I'm going to add to this is, this is important. You want to spend a lot of time on this so that you're happy and you're comfortable with the name. You're going to be living with this for potentially years and years and years. The other thing I would do is search for Google on business name best practice. Okay, and there's a bunch of articles that are gonna come up. They basically talk about what I just brought up, okay? But I think it's worthwhile taking a quick look. Naming your company by Inc.com. They're gonna remind you about tips on, keep it short, keep it memorable, very similar things to what I just talked about. Let's skip this. Okay, naming your company. But, they may have some good advice that I haven't brought up. Okay, where's the article? And all of these sites now, you know, they want you to go through ads and do all kinds of things here. It's like, just show me the article. Okay, I don't know what's going on this site, but I'm going to go back and pick another one. Let's see here. How to give your business name that sticks. Let's try this one. All right, everybody read blah, 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 blah. Okay, pick a name that defines you. You know, that's a good point. You want to love it. It's your baby. You want a name that you like. Make sure no one else has the name. We talked about that. Build a brand. It has to have brand appeal. Okay, so on and so forth. So I would Google that a little bit, spend some time on it. This is something you want to set aside, you know, one morning, one afternoon, just spend some time, and then pick one or two and then sleep on it. And ask your friends and family. You may absolutely love the name, and your family may come back and say, that sounds crazy. You know, so sleep on it. Don't you know, pull the trigger right away. Okay, so let's move on to the next item. Let me make a note of this. So Google advice on naming your company articles. Okay, and let me clarify one last time the difference between the. Let me give you an example of the whole name versus brand. Okay, so in our case, let's do this as an example. Let's say we decide that we're going to call our company Sky Commerce. Okay, and we'll assume it was available, all that good stuff that I talked about. Okay, now under Sky Commerce, I am going to be selling my first brand, and it's going to be a toothbrush. Okay, so brand number one, private label. I'm going to sell a toothbrush. Now that toothbrush, I can from Amazon, I can call it anything I want. So I am going to be calling it Sky let's see, let's call that Sky Toothbrush Oops, okay. Sky toothbrushes, okay, maybe I'll separate that. Oops. Let's fix that here. Okay. All right, that's my first private label product. That's what I'm selling. And let's say a month later I decide, hey, now we're going to sell some of those private label, eco-friendly coffee cups, okay? And I'm going to call that brand name, okay, Hip Cups, right? Whatever, doesn't matter, right? Or let's call it Eco Cups, okay? So these brand names, and I can go on, right? I can have a brand new product, and this one I'm going to sell some kitchen supplies, and we'll call it, you know, platinum wares. Okay, totally just making this up. So the way this is structured, my company name can have multiple brands all sitting under them. Okay, just like that example that I showed you right here. All right, so on each one of these companies, if I click on them, this is probably not their only product. They're going to have a bunch of products, and they can have different brands. All right, so this person is selling the Sheffen product. This seller, Zoller Hardware, is selling OXO products. This is not necessarily their products, but it could be. And they could have chosen these names themselves. Okay, so you get the idea. So it's a one-to-many type of relationship. Okay, so one final note here, just to summarize. Think future. All right, you will flip, sell this company make it appealing. All right. Okay, let's move on to company registration and what the requirements are for that. So let me go here. So a couple of notes here. This is um, not too difficult to figure out, but some important things. When you start as a new seller on Amazon, you can start with your own personal Amazon account and sell as an individual. Okay, so when you go to apply on Seller Central, all right, I've already logged into mine. But when you first go into Seller Central, so it's sellercentral.amazon.com, and you're going to register your existing Amazon account, if you have one, you can just use that and create a seller account, and they give you free 30 days to sell, and then I believe they charge after that. I can't remember if it's $40 or $50 per month, but there is a fee for becoming a pro seller. In the beginning, as you get started, it's perfectly fine to sell as an individual. Most people do that. When you get to the scale of making serious sales, and when I say serious, I'm talking about, if you're selling more than $2,000 a month, after maybe 3-4 months of selling on Amazon, you really should get a business, because you're going to need that for accounting purposes, and maybe more importantly, you're going to need that for legal purposes. When you do business as an individual, if there is a problem, and so let's take a worst case scenario here, somebody buys your product and it's a swing, okay, for their kid for the backyard, and they fall off the swing and their kid gets hurt, they can come after you and sue you as an individual. All of your personal belongings, assets, etc., that's a liability. That's a huge liability. So professional sellers, once they get to the point that they know, hey, this is something that I'm selling a lot of products now, I've got risk, I want to cover that risk, I should have a company. Most people start with an LLC. Okay, so let's look at some of the notes here. So separate your business from yourself for liability purposes with an LLC. You want to have a separate bank account, okay? But essentially what you're doing here is you are separating the risk and liability from yourself personally and your business. And you want to do that at a point where you begin to make regular sales. And nobody can tell you when to do that. That's really a question for you and your comfort level. Some people do it on day one, and others will do it a year later. So that's a question of what is your risk level, what is your comfort level on when you want to register your business. Amazon doesn't care. They will allow you to sell as an individual, and they will ask for your social security card, some kind of a number personally. Actually, it's the social security card so that you can continue to sell. But that's your responsibility to set up your own business and bank account. I would suggest on day one, separate at least your bank account. And when you're ready to open up a company, then you can always come back into Amazon Seller Central and change that. Okay? So this, as I mentioned, it separates the liability from your personal assets. Okay, very important. Okay, let's move on to the next point. Now, as far as the structure, what to open, I mentioned LLC here. Most people start with an LLC, but you can do a DBA. there's some options over there. That's a conversation you need to have with your accountant. You may be in a situation where you have multiple companies. You may have an umbrella corporation that you just want to do a DBA. So again, it's not really a what's the best thing for Amazon. It's really more of what's the best thing for you and your personal financial infrastructure and what your accountant tells you to do, or your attorney. The simplest thing is to just start with a simple business registration and then an LLC. And then from there, once you start hitting some serious numbers, 100,000 a month, then you can change that to a Corp C, Corp S. All of these things have a tax implication. And again, it's a conversation you want to have with a professional. When you decide to register your company as an LLC, if you do, then you can do that yourself. You can register on, there's a bunch of these different websites, but LegalZoom is a website that I use. I have multiple corporations that I have registered through them. But again, I did this with my attorney, with his advice on how to set it up exactly, all right, or any other related sites. Okay, so fairly straightforward. All right, now, big question that I know is going to come up. Sorry, I don't know why this thing is flashing. Let me just quit that. Okay, big question that's going to come up. A lot of you guys are international, and a lot of you guys are going to be selling from overseas. So does this apply to you? Well, yes, you still have to have a legal entity. You can use a international recognized legal entity that ties in to a U.S. bank, etc. But it's a conversation that you need to have with your U.S. bank and figure out how to do that. Now, a new program has come out that has the potential, and I haven't tested this out. I have made a phone call and spoken to them, but this potentially can revolutionize and make it really, really easy for you international guys to do some business. So international, and let me share that with you. So let's go there. And I think all of you have probably heard of this company, Stripe. Okay, they're a payment processor just like PayPal. Stripe has just launched, I mean, this is brand new, this new international program introducing Atlas, a new way to start an internet business anywhere. And basically what they do is they will set you up a US-based business, a US-based bank account, etc., etc. Here you go. They will incorporate your company as a US Delaware company, which has some tax advantages. They will open a business bank account for you. They'll let you accept payments by Stripe, of course. And apparently they give you some tax and legal guidance, okay? So, and they're working with the Silicon Valley Bank, which is actually one of my banks. And that's interesting. They've got Amazon right here. So I recommend that you come check this out, watch their videos, contact them, look at the FAQ, etc. But this looks like, to me, like a one-stop process to jump in there and get your international business going, okay? So international sellers, review stripe.com, and specifically it's the Atlas program. I mean, this is truly connecting the dots around the world. I mean, I'm blown away by the fact that they're offering this. I think this offers anybody, anywhere, the opportunity to sell on Amazon, and that is just super, super exciting. I mentioned there are a few states that many corporations like to start doing their incorporation registration with. Registration may offer tax advantages. And this is also important for some people, anonymity, okay? Maybe you have a full-time job. Maybe you don't want your name out there for your employer to come across that, hey, I'm selling on Amazon right now. Well, these guys, and there's a few other states as well, They give you a lot of anonymity. You can't tell who owns the company. I have had a company registered in Delaware a few years ago. I moved it to Texas now, where I live, but there's some advantages there as well. So I'm not a legal expert, but this is something that it may be relevant to you and you want to check out. So to summarize, check with your attorney, accountant. Your situation may be unique, and you need to set this up correctly. Okay, very important. All right. All right, so the last thing, so we've talked about company registration for US-based, international-based, what you need to do, what you should start off as personally, start out with a personal account and then go from there as you start selling more and more. The last thing I want to talk about is Amazon help and terminology. And Amazon, let's go into Amazon. It can be a little challenging from a navigation standpoint to see where you are, but help is right there, obviously. Amazon provides help via chat, email, and phone. Okay, you have all three options to use. So the phone service, I'm on the phone with them quite a bit, and they're very helpful. So you want to spend some time over here. They have training videos. They've got a lot of different things that they provide over here. You can come in here and search for help topics, etc. It's important that when you get registered, you spend time on this portal. Okay, this is your selling platform, and you need to become familiar with it. Okay, so they have help, they have guides, they have videos, they have forums, and they also have something called the Seller University. And let's see if it comes up here. Here we go, Seller University. Okay, so they cover quite a bit of information here. And I think you need to bookmark this and spend some time here, okay? Things change all the time with Amazon, so you have to keep yourself updated. Okay, so let's make a few notes here. Spend time on the Amazon Seller Central portal. It's important you understand the platform and functions. Browse, like I said, the help guides, the FAQs, the videos, the forum, and go through the Amazon Seller Central University. And I'm going to give you the link for that, or you can always search it like I just showed you. Okay. Let me paste it here. There we go. Okay, so let me actually type that out. Amazon Seller Central University. Okay. And then glossary. You want to get familiar with the terminology. So let's go back there. Same thing. You can come over here and you can search for glossary. And there's a few different ones that will pop up. Okay. There is a new seller's glossary. There is a business reports glossary, shipping terms glossary, and an Amazon business glossary. I know that's a lot, but I think it's worth perusing just quickly. So let's click on this. All right, so you need to know what a buy box is. Average selling price, the BSR, the bestseller rank. So a lot of these things are just intuitive. Page views, I mean, that's kind of intuitive. But some of these other ones you're going to hear a lot about, and you need to become familiar with them, okay? So I am going to list those. Become familiar with Amazon glossaries. Okay, and I've bookmarked a few, so I'm going to list them here. There's the new seller glossary. There is the business reports glossary, shipping terms glossary, and the Amazon business glossary. And it's something that I spent a little bit of time on when I first got into this. It's not something that you need to probably come back to again and again. It's, again, pretty straightforward. So I would maybe just even bookmark them. Oops. Let me see what happened there. Okay, I would maybe just bookmark them and come back to it as you need it. Here's the other one here. And two more. All right, and then last one. Okay, there we go. All right, guys. So that's it. We're going to wrap up with this. So quickly to summarize, choosing your company name, follow these best practices, make sure the name is available, understand the difference between a company name and brand, company registration, understand some of the legal attributes, the legal requirements that you're going to get yourself into. You can start off with a personal account, but you want to look into getting serious as you start selling more. For international people, Stripe has a program that looks very, very promising. And then understanding the fundamentals within the Amazon Seller Central platform. Log in there, look at help, watch the videos, et cetera, et cetera. You'll find a lot of good information. It's just not very well organized, in my opinion, but it is useful to spend some time there, okay? So I'm going to end it here, and we'll pick up in the next video.